I am Ray, and if you're watching this, it means you're going to be rich. Congratulations. Now you might ask, well, is this guy that I'm watching rich, even? Yes, but I like Bashar's definition of abundance. Do you know Bashar? Bashar. I was going to write abundance, but then his definition of abundance is anything that you need is there exactly when you need it. So whatever you need, at any time, it's always yours. Now, quick funny story. One day, I was very under the influence of cannabis. I was just sitting there, chilling out, hanging around. My room was really messy at the time, not too much different from now, but it was really messy. And I was just chilling there, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw a bunch of little floating orbs everywhere. And I was like, interesting. I'm having a hallucination. Maybe not. And immediately, a thought came to me that I had never thought before. And that thought was, oh, the spirit of the flies exist before the flies themselves. So because my environment, my room was messy and it was dirty and it was the perfect environment for flies, they were attracted to it on an energetic level, but they did not exist yet. So as far as I can tell, how life kind of works is you have the physical realm and you have the energetic realm. And in order for something to be made manifest in the world, there has to be an alignment. And whatever does manifest in the world is because of this energy. So, for example, if you manifest a life, if your physical world is that of lack and scarcity, the only reason is because you're giving off lack and scarcity energy. And that's all. Because if you were giving off energy of abundance, you would never experience whatever it is that is of lack and scarcity. It wouldn't happen. It's not possible. And the thing is, if your energy is that of abundance, a bun. You like buns? Hot dog buns, hamburger buns. If your energy is out of abundance, it doesn't matter how many times you go broke. You could spend all of your money and literally give it away, throw it away, burn it, get this money out of my life kind of thing, and it will just start falling and raining from the sky. Now, maybe not literally, but the point is that you can't run away from your energy. If you're in lack and scarcity, no matter how much money you make, you'll return to zero. If you're in abundance, doesn't matter how much money you lose, you'll return to abundance. That is all. You just got to match your energy and hold it long enough to bring it down to the physical world. Now, I'm just going to assume that you're advanced. Maybe you are, maybe you're not. I'm sure you've heard of the idea that we all one, that everything is energy. And we're just going to run with that for today. What we need to know is that thoughts are energy. This is really where everything starts. So this is what we want to pay attention to. So if thoughts have energy, or if thoughts are energy, what thoughts do you need in order to live in abundance? Answer me this. It wasn't that complicated. You think good thoughts about money. That's it. And what's that going to do? It's going to make you feel good about money. And because thoughts and feelings are both energy, you more quickly create the life that you desire in the material world. You want to get your thoughts, feelings, and actions on the same board. You want them all to align with your energy. And this is the funny thing. And I've begun to realize how trapped everyone is. Like when I see comments sometimes, even from people in the spiritual community, it's like, wow, people really do need help. Because think about how most people do things like, I gotta go find a job, work application, oh, my worst nightmare. We have such a skewed and warped perception of the world and perception of life that it's like, come on, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Why are you living this way? And because it's normal and because everyone is living this way, nobody thinks twice about it. But I think twice. I actually think once. It's stupid. No need for any more thought about it. You could go through 100 job interviews to try and make money. And you're just doing it because you need money. It's a stupid thing. Don't do that. Because you're just going to get yourself stuck in a life that you hate for money that's not worth anything. You realize money's not worth anything, but what you believe it's worth. Correct? I mean, I don't know if you knew this, but money has been decreasing in value since its conception, pretty much no matter where you are. So you're trading your time and your energy, the two most valuable resources that you have. You're trading it for something that's not even real. And people are proud about, oh, I'm working multiple jobs, I'm working more hours, I'm doing this, life is good. Snap out of it, because it's just like a defense mechanism, keeping you busy so you can feel like you're being productive with your life. And you don't have to feel like a loser. You get to feel like, yes, I'm doing very well for myself. And look, you could do that if you want. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying, don't get caught in that mindset, because it's wrong. It's again about why people are kind of screwed sometimes. Because everyone's got that mindset, at least in the general mainstream population. They assume if I work more, I'll get more money. And if I get more money, then life is going to be better. Because you experience all these problems that come with a lack of money, and you assume that money's going to solve the problem. It doesn't solve the problem, I promise you. And the thing is, I struggled for years with nothing. Sometimes I didn't know what I was going to eat, scrounging for quarters. I'm sure most people have been there at some point in their life. But no matter how much money I would make, it would always return to zero, no matter what I did. And then one day I woke up and I realized, oh, wait a minute. I know all of this manifestation stuff. I know how to create my reality. I know how to change. I just haven't implemented the stuff. What I can show you here. Once I started implementing the stuff, I never worried about money again. At least in this one area of my life, I've been able to do pretty good. Mastering my energy about it. It's only getting better. But here's the trick. I don't think about it. I don't think about what I need to do. I don't think about how much I need to work. I don't think about anything. I don't think about trying to find a source of income. Every single aspect will figure itself out. But think about air conditioning. I gotta figure it out. I gotta figure it out. There's a problem. There's a problem. What kind of energy does that give off? Fight or flight, scared, lacking scarcity energy. When you have to figure it all out, it's a big problem. When you don't have to do anything, no problem. All good. But you might ask, well, okay, is it going to get done if I don't do something about it? What does this mean? If rent is due in 2 weeks and I don't have any money or a job, what am I to do? Answer me this. It's like that episode in SpongeBob where Squidward's like, we can't just sit here and do nothing. But what do SpongeBob and Patrick do? They sit there and do nothing. And then everything falls out of the sky. Everything they need is just freely given. That is abundance. Don't be Squidward. Don't be a realist. Don't look at the world and say, this is the evidence that is before me and I have to do something about it. Like, oh, look at my bank account, I got no money. I gotta work really hard, I gotta do something. Like a buzzing bee. Just relax. Not that big of a deal. The more of a deal you make it, the bigger of it is a deal. I think that's correct. We have to start rising our perspective, thinking of things from a higher place. So, at the densest layer of reality, the surface level that we're experiencing right now, the level of form, the level of the body, this is the worst level to think about things from. If you look at life from a physical perspective, you will be a slave to the animal kingdom. You will be a slave to your animal body, and you will live your life in survival. Your whole life will be rooted in fear, and I promise you, most people I see are living like this. So don't be so quick to say, oh, well, I'm not doing that. Maybe you are, maybe you're not. It's just that most people do live their life from this very dense, difficult level of reality. This is life on hard mode right here. The hardest mode there is. This is life on easy mode. And in between, there is the mind realm. Living life from here is a little bit better than here, but this is the best. But all aspects are necessary. Gotta deal with them all. But think about the type of being that you are. When you create from the world, it's like creating with your hands. If I want a house, I gotta build a house. I got a hammer, I got a nail, and I'll build it. Bob, he builds. But what does that do? That takes time, that takes energy, it takes a lot of effort, it takes planning, it takes all of these different elements that you have to figure out and get your stuff together. That is a life of struggle, difficulty, force. You have to force reality to do things. Like if you want something and you don't have it, you have to force yourself to get it from this level, using your time and your energy and effort. Now, if you want to create from this level, the mind, well, now you experience a little bit more freedom. It's not as difficult. You have leverage. What is leverage? It means that you can use your mind to use other people's energy to do what you want. So you hire other people to work for you on this level so you don't have to. And so people like this are like the boss, the leaders, the CEOs, because nobody wants to do the grunt work except for people who are in that phase. And it's not necessarily the worst thing in the world if you're living down here, because we all go through these phases, but it's gonna suck. Just know that. And you want to learn to begin moving up. Because if it was the hardest people who worked, who made all the money, as it is said, the donkey would run the farm, not the farmer. It's not about hard work. The only reason hard work works is because it's baller energy. If you're giving out baller energy, well, you're going to get baller results. What does that mean? It means if you're grinding and you're working hard, it means you're a certain kind of person. You're the kind of person who works hard and is disciplined and is consistent, and therefore your energy is powerful, is good. And you become someone like David Goggins. Not that it's wrong, it's just a hard way to live. And maybe if you want, you could put these burdens upon yourself willingly to struggle, because you know that struggle is good. But if you're actually struggling and you're really trying not to be here, stop it. Because there's other solutions. A really powerful way that's changed the way I've been thinking lately, it has to do with your energetic signature. It's a cool, fancy idea, is it not? Signature. I wonder if this is even readable. We can just say that your energetic signature is the accumulation of your past thoughts, feelings, and actions. And all you want to do is align your energetic signature with abundance. That's all you got to do, and it will happen. And you see how this is such a big shortcut, because you literally don't have to think about anything. You don't think about what job you have to do. You don't think about how much money you need. You don't need to think about anything except mastering your energy. The moment you begin living in abundance, the right job will come to you. The right money will come to you. And everything you will need will be freely given to you. No cost. And basically what I'm going to do this whole video is just continue to remind you, stop listening to your animalistic conditioning. Because it's going to be big. And what I mean is that we spent our whole lives believing that life was a certain way when it was not. And because other people are also in that same boat, they too believe that that is the true nature of reality. So us as biological human beings, we look to others and say, okay, can I confirm that my reality is accurate? And we ping off other people, and if they agree, then we say, oh, okay, we must be aligned with the truth. So we are deep in conditioning, because anybody I talk to, they're going to say, well, I got to work. Living is expensive. It's like people have Stockholm Syndrome. They literally fight and claw to argue for lack and scarcity. They say, no, the world is it's cold, it's brutal, it's short, like a Russian dwarf. It's a bad world. It's going down the toilet. The economy's going down the toilet. I mean, really think. Really look out in the world and tell me that you don't see a whole bunch of problems. Like there's war, there's Donald Trump, there's the economy, there's Russia. If you watch the news or social media, you're going to have a very warped interpretation of reality. Because all of these things are carefully orchestrated to convince you of something, to sway your mentality toward a certain way of thinking. And oftentimes it's lack. Because guess what? If I'm a marketer and I can get you to feel like you're not good enough, you'll buy my product. So we are bombarded by unrealistic ideals all the time, so that we are subconsciously programmed to not feel good enough, to be happy, fat consumers. I encourage you to do research on, I don't remember his name. He was a marketer guy. He was the cousin of Freud, the psychologist. And I have no doubt that he took those psychological ideas and used them to market the masses. And one thing he did was, way back when, maybe in the 60s or something, a little bit of feminist movement going on. They wanted to sell more cigarettes, but cigarettes were only selling to men because only men smoked. So the guy created a marketing campaign to convince women that it was empowering to smoke cigarettes. And because the feminist movement was already taking off, they ate it and they started smoking. Like, you're elegant, you're powerful, you're a woman, a real woman if you smoke. And the women thinking that, oh, well, yeah, this makes sense. Not realizing that they were manipulated psychologically to buy. And this kind of thing is happening all the time. Psychological warfare. And if you've never woken up out of the dream, out of the hypnosis, out of the matrix, you will not even be aware that this is happening. You'll just be living your life and you just assume that I am in control. But we have to remember that people spend billions and billions and billions of dollars every year trying to convince us and even manipulate us into buying things. And if you don't get out of this grasp, you will be a slave to their narrative and you will have no power of your own. You have to master your own energy, which means you have to drown out the noise of the world. Because if there's always this sound saying, you're not good enough, you're not good enough, it's trying to influence you energetically so that you fall to lower states of consciousness, lack and scarcity, so you can buy things in the hopes to bring you up. And they do for a minute. They make you feel better, and then what? You're left with lack and scarcity again. It's a never-ending wheel of hamsters. Just hamsters everywhere. But if you can learn to ignore the noise of the world and focus on your own self, your own energy, you can prevent getting manipulated and trapped. And you can live any life that you desire. Because it's all about energy. I mean, think about it. There are people right now living in an infinite abundance. You could say, I'm one of them. I went from, I wouldn't say I necessarily worried about money, but not having it, being frustrated, being irritated, really having that strong desire, to, well, having no desire at all, not worrying about it at all, not having any fear. I could go to zero right now. Maybe it would suck. But psychologically, it wouldn't make that much of a difference. Now, when I started receiving abundance, there was still a little bit of like, oh, I need to do something to upkeep this. And there's a little nervousness of losing money. Like, oh, I got to make this amount every single day, every month. And if I don't do that, well, then something bad might happen. That was kind of the mentality I was coming from. Until I realized, oh, wait, that's stupid. I'm not worrying about it ever again. Guess what my energy is like? It's like somebody who never worries about money. Who never worries about money? People who are billionaires and millionaires. People who have more than enough. So you know that you're living in infinite abundance when you have no fear or worry or concern about money ever again. Ever again. Because if you start worrying about it again, you're going to shift your energy back toward lack, and that's what you will receive. Now, you have two basic options, theoretically at least. At least all that I can think of right now in this moment. So at the highest level, you have understanding. Understanding of what? The truth. If you literally just become more aware, you increase your knowledge. The more knowledge you have, the more aware you become of the truth. The more you simply understand, the more this becomes a default. Because the true nature of reality is infinite abundance, not lack and scarcity. Although we think it's the opposite because we live in these animal bodies. It's like if you're foraging for blueberries, well, you don't know if there's going to be an infinite abundance of blueberries. Probably not. There's probably only going to be a few. You got to be careful. So biologically speaking, we are designed to focus on lack and scarcity as a survival mechanism. We are designed to focus on negativity by default. So you have to consciously change your energy or else the automatic programming will run you down to the ground. So the true nature of reality is infinite abundance. And once you understand that, it's easy to enter into that energetic field of, okay, it's infinite abundance. I know this. And then it's a game of, well, how much do you know it? If you get a bill in the mail, do you know it? If somebody asks you, hey man, can I borrow some money? Do you know it then? Because what this means is that, well, you're freely giving. Doesn't mean you go give all your money to a homeless person. It means that if the opportunity arises, you don't think twice questioning to give. You're just, okay, give. Because you know that when you give, there's an infinite abundance of money. So why would you hesitate? The only reason you would hesitate is because you've been thinking about your bank account and you're like, okay, I don't know if I have enough. I don't know if I have enough. Lack and scarcity energy. No wonder. Now, it's not so easy to get to understanding. There are a few other layers. The next layer is faith. This is really easy if you have God in your life. In fact, it's the cheat code. Because you can literally just believe that God has already taken care of everything. God has already solved all your problems. God has already given you... God already has all the money. Because God is the source of infinite abundance. So what else do you need to think about? Why are you in this equation at all? Why are you thinking about what you need to do? You don't need to do anything. You just have faith that God will provide. And it will if you actually have an earnest intention. And the funny thing is, you don't really even need to believe necessarily, which is the lowest state. Like, belief isn't very strong because your beliefs can change. So you can believe that there's infinite abundance all day long, but when you're really in the grip of lack and scarcity, you're not going to feel like that. You're not going to feel like you're living in abundance. But even if you don't believe in God, or even if you don't believe in infinite abundance, you just have to be open to the possibility. Because if you are open to the possibility, you are open to change. And if you're not open to the possibility, you are not open to the change, you will stay a slave, you will. Why? Because you can't change your energy until you change yourself, till you change your thoughts. And it's good to be humble, because if your life isn't going the way you want it to, then assume that whatever it is you're doing is not the right thing, at least in that area. You're not giving off the right energy that is in alignment with what you want. Like, I promise you this, if you were to just pretend and be delusional for 1 month and just forget about it all, just assume that everything is already taken care of, just live your life. Just do what's in front of you. Enjoy, have fun, and you will see that money comes into your life effortlessly, and you spent all of these years trying so hard. And guess what? This is a little like science, because I'm saying, do this and you will get this outcome. All you got to do is follow the steps. If you truly believe with 100% certainty that God has already taken care of everything, that life is infinite abundance, that everything that you need will be there exactly when you need it, that everything is already taken care of, firstly, of course, because it's kind of hard to believe that, you just open yourself up to it, curiously. Okay, that would be cool. Maybe my life's not like that right now, but that would be cool. Let's try it. Why not? What do you have to lose? What do you have to lose in just believing that it's all good? You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. And, well, you don't have to be so just, like, lost. It kind of makes intuitive sense that if you align your energy to what it is that you want, you and that thing will become one. Let's look at it this way. It's like magnets. You like magnets? What do they call it? The law of attraction? Magnetic? Yeah, these are some kind of magnets from another world. If the magnets are not in alignment, they will repel each other. There will be a force that prevents the two magnets from coming together. Separation. There is space, there is distance between you and what it is that you want. But the moment you're in alignment, what happens? Boop. They can't even help themselves. It's the natural law of the universe. They're attracted. They come together. They become one. So how long it takes for you to attract money into your life is by how close or far away your energy is in alignment to that. Meaning, how much lack and scarcity do you have inside you? And basically what determines how much lack and scarcity you have is how long you've been living from form, living from the physical reality, living from your senses, stuck in these lower states of consciousness. And the question is, how long does it take you to fix that? Fix your vibration, clean it up. Well, I promise you, it doesn't take that long. You can change drastically in a month. But you have to actually change. And this is how we change. So we all have a conscious and an unconscious. The unconscious is the intelligence of the body. It speaks the language of feelings. The conscious is the mind. Speaks the language of patterns. Patterns or information. I mean, I guess everything is information. But patterns like when you look at this, what do you see? What do you see? Even though this is not a real bee, you know it's a bee. Strange, is it not? It's because the pattern of a bee is still present. But it's also got a different pattern. It's plastic. So in a moment, your mind interprets all of these different aspects of this bee. And you know, first of all, okay, it's not a real bee, but it is a bee. It's an imitation of a bee, like a cartoon. And it looks like it's meant for bathtubs. And all this happens without you even being aware. So most of the information, most of the patterns in our reality are neutral. Like, for instance, this bee. Like, you don't really think anything of it. Maybe because you watch these videos, you know to just be, and so it's got a more positive meaning for you. But generally speaking, most stuff is just neutral. Doesn't mean anything. But every time we feel strongly about something, well, we give that thing meaning. And through that meaning, our body records that pattern, that information as memory in the body. And that is how we evolved. So for millions and millions and millions of years, we have been experiencing patterns, experiencing life, and our ancestors have been giving different meanings to these different patterns. That memory is stored in our body, and it's passed down to future generations. It's called epigenetics. What you do in this life will affect your future generations, and you can unlock new genes. And the same thing goes for money. If your parents weren't good with money, you're probably not going to be that good either at the beginning, because you've been passed down this generational trauma, at the very least psychologically, meaning that your parents had that negative memory stored in their body of lack and scarcity. And maybe they didn't epigenetically pass that down onto you, maybe they did, but psychologically they passed down that memory of lack and scarcity. Because when they speak, when they act, when they think, it's all being filtered through lack and scarcity. It's being filtered through that memory. So if your parents struggled with money, they're going to pass that down onto you, and you have to break that generational curse. And how do you break it? You reprogram that memory to be in abundance instead of lack and scarcity. How does that work? Well, it's very simple. The pattern is money. If you're broke, it means you have a negative relationship with money. You have a negative memory associated with money. So what happens is that throughout your whole life, mostly through childhood, you will be exposed to this pattern. And sometimes there's going to be good experiences. Sometimes there's going to be bad ones. There's a ratio. And how rich or poor you are is determined by that ratio of positive to negative experiences with that thing. And this is true for all aspects of life. For instance, if you've been burned in relationships in the past, you're going to have a negative relationship with relationships, sabotage everything. The effect arises from the underlying cause, that is you. It's the information stored in your body that is causing your energy to manifest in a certain way. The only reason anybody is broke, besides the fact that they were just born into it, is because you've had more negative experiences with money than positive ones. Meaning you felt worse about money than you have felt positive, felt good. Therefore, you have a negative relationship with money. That's all it is. And think about if you have a friend. If you really love that friend, does it take any effort to hang out with them? It does not. But if there's someone who's really annoying trying to hang out with you, how hard is it to be around them? It's very difficult because you don't like them. You have a negative relationship with that person. So why would you expect If you have a negative relationship with money, why would money ever be around you? There's no reason. So all you have to do is start feeling better about it. And that changes your energy. And it enters you into energetic alignment with what you want. Like, think about how simple this is. And think about how so many people, decades and decades and decades of working themselves to death, when it can all be avoided like this, 1 month or less. Now, sometimes it takes more months, but the point is, like, think about the cost of being stuck in these negative states of consciousness, grinding for years and years and years, slaving away, slaving your life, slaving your time, all because you didn't know your power and somebody else did, and they stole it from you. They manipulated you, tricked you into believing a certain narrative, and enslaved your life. And if they didn't do it to you, guess what? They probably did it to your parents. They probably did it to your siblings, everybody you love. And if you don't do something about it, guess what? The cycle continues. But as you can see, it's not that difficult, not that complicated. All you got to do is feel differently about it. Is it that hard to feel differently about something? Well, maybe sometimes, because we can't necessarily change our feelings willy-nilly. We have to change our thoughts. So what happens? You start thinking differently about money. So what happens is that when you have negative experiences about money, as the mind, you tell the unconscious that you're living in a reality of lack and scarcity. From an animalistic perspective, this is a very wise thing to do. But from a higher human perspective, it's very dumb. So remember, the body's main purpose is survival. It's trying to keep you alive, so it will sabotage you and prevent you from doing anything that will come in conflict with your survival. For example, if you were living in a desert, it would be the wrong thing to live in abundance. Because imagine just water. You're living in abundance. Okay, there's water. Let me just drink it all. Yay. And then tomorrow you're dead because you drank all your water. If you're living in lack and scarcity, you're going to be very cautious. You're going to take sips. You're not going to waste it. You're going to be very careful because your body's programming you to do that. You have told your body, okay, you're living in lack and scarcity. Chill, no abundance, no extra, no wasting. You need to be very conservative. So that's what your body will do. It'll force you to be conservative. Not in like politics. I mean conservative as not spending money. Yeah, if you have trouble spending money, you're probably stuck in that. Now you know why. But from a higher human perspective, you can program your unconscious to be any way you want. So you have a strong feeling about something. Your body then records that memory as a snapshot. It takes whatever pattern you were exposed to and whatever feeling, pairs them together, and that is meaning. You have an emotional memory tied to an experience. And with all those snapshots, your body creates what is called the unconscious identity. It's an image of who it believes you are and the reality that you're living in. And it uses this information to keep you alive. And this is why people who are stuck in animalistic consciousness don't escape. Because if you're only perceiving with your senses of what you believe is true with your own eyes, then you will not feel differently until your reality changes. And it's the opposite. If you want your reality to change, you have to feel differently about it. Like, you can grind your way to the top, but the process is the same thing. All you're doing is changing how you feel about money. You're changing your underlying identity about it. But if you can learn the language of feelings, you understand that the body speaks feelings, and that you as the conscious mind have the power to reprogram yourself to be whatever you want. The unconscious only knows the word yes. Well, one of the next things that happens is that you become very careful about what you say and what you think, because the unconscious is always listening, and it listens specifically, like it presses record anytime you have a strong feeling about anything. And the stronger the feeling, the more it holds down that button. It's as if I press the record button softly, it only records a little bit. But if I press it down really hard, it records more vividly. For example, you never remember your dreams, right? But when do you remember your dreams? When there was a strong emotion attached to it. There was a strong meaning you gave to a pattern in your dream. And because it was so strong, because it was so vivid, that memory was stored for longer so you can remember it. Otherwise, all the patterns that you experience in your dreams just float away the closer they are to being neutral. Which most everything is. There's only a few things that we really give a lot of meaning to. It's the same reason why songs get stuck in your head, whether positively or negatively. Like if you're really annoyed by a song, guess what? You feel negatively about it. So it gets stuck in your head, and then you feel even more angry and frustrated and annoyed. So it gets more stuck in your head. You get caught in this loop. And if it makes you feel good, you'll remember the song. It'll play in your head. So the name of the game is as you move forward in your life. And I really want you to focus on this. If you're watching this, don't worry about other stuff. Like, okay, I gotta get my relationships in order first. If you want money, fix that problem. If you're living in lack and scarcity, deal with that first. Because then you won't have to deal with it ever again. If you do it right. And, well, if you don't focus, it's going to take longer to receive your results. So, you got two versions of you. Well, let's say 3 versions. There's the old lack and scarcity you. And there's the new abundance you. And here you are in the middle. And so all you do is you get clear on what you want. And sometimes you just got to be clear on what you don't want. So you don't want to live in lack and scarcity anymore because it sucks. And you want to live in abundance. And when you just kind of make this intention, your mind will start focusing on all the information that's relevant to this situation. So our brains are designed to only focus on things that are meaningful to us. Because where attention goes, energy flows. And our body, our system has to be conservative with our energy. Because then it would be just wasting everywhere. It's called schizophrenia. Schizophrenics are people who see an excess of meaning everywhere. Everything is meaningful. It's also like what happens on a psychedelic trip. As they say, the schizophrenic drowns in the same ocean that the mystic swims in with delight. And so the point is, your mind is designed to focus on only things that are relevant to what you already believe. It focuses on only things that are relevant to your identity. And now that you have been claiming a new identity, your mind will now focus on all the information relevant to that. So what will happen is that as you go throughout your day, you'll start paying more attention to the words that you speak and the thoughts that you think. And every time you just become aware, that's all you got to do. It's not even an active process. It's just kind of like something that happens. It becomes easier and easier and easier to step into the new version of you. Why is this? Because if you look at your bank account and you start to think and ruminate on lack and scarcity, and you start to get worried, and you snap yourself out of it, you see, oh, I was just feeding the old version. I don't want to live that way anymore. That is a great success. Because in that moment, you have a conscious choice to continue ruminating on what doesn't serve you, or to change. So be ready that old programming is going to come up. The automatic programming that's been running the show, it's strong. So it's going to take some time to reverse that conditioning. The first step is no longer feeding the old, and the second step is you start feeding the new. And through your awareness alone, you will stop feeding the old. Because every time you become aware, you get that choice to say, okay, I'm not living that way anymore. And therefore, you enter into a little bit more alignment with your new identity. And once you snap out of that hypnosis of the automatic programming, you can then consciously affirm the reality that you do want to live in. So what does this look like? It looks like every time you come into contact with money, the only thing you do is acknowledge how much you appreciate that. Living in gratitude. The more you live in gratitude, the more money will come to you. Because you're developing a positive relationship with it. If every time you experience money, you feel good about it, guess what? You're living in abundance. Congratulations. You can even look at a dollar bill. Looky here, some cash. You look at the dollar bill, and you just smile. Wow, amazing. Look at that. So cool. Because think about what this does biologically. You're looking at the pattern. You know the pattern. Your body knows. And you start smiling. Wonderful. The fact that you're smiling is telling your body something good is happening right now. Something amazing. And so your body starts to listen a little bit. Like, oh, what's so amazing here, friend? Anytime you experience a positive emotion at all, you can consciously repeat in your head, I love being rich. And it doesn't necessarily even mean money. You can be rich in many things. Rich in love. I love being rich. You're abundant in all areas of life. And that is how you affirm the new reality. You're teaching your nervous system to feel safe around money. And until that happens, you will sabotage it. Because think about it, if money is associated with survival and it's negative, you have a negative relationship, you will be in fight or flight around money, which means fear and worry, anxiousness. And until you get rid of that emotional memory, well, what do you expect? You're freaking out about money. Because those are the experiences that you've had. You struggled, you fought, you tried really hard. You've done things you didn't want to do. Hopefully not too bad. But what do you expect? Your whole life has been a negative relationship with money. I mean, maybe not you particularly, but most people. Because most people are broke. And it's not about what business model you go in. It has nothing to do with anything outside of yourself. It's all about you and your own energy. And how congruent you are with the ideal version of you that's living the life that you want. That energetic signature. What is it more aligned with? Is it more aligned with this? Or somewhere in between? So you got to undo that automatic programming from the past. You were thrown into life, conditioned by your parents, by the world, by society. It's giving you some negative things to deal with. You deal with them. And as you can see, it's not that crazy, not that difficult. It's just one day at a time. You start feeling a little bit different, a little bit different, a little bit different, a little bit different. Until what you want is right in front of you. And guess what? The more evidence you perceive of the reality that you want, the more you're going to get excited, the more you're going to feel good. And don't waste those opportunities. Because once you start seeing results, it's the perfect opportunity to reaffirm what you want. Because you're naturally going to feel good about it. Oh, I'm finally seeing results. This is nice. Use that emotion while it's there. Get yourself excited. Feel good. If you can work yourself up into a positive state, you can change yourself very quickly about anything. In fact, you can change overnight. But it all comes down to reprogramming your unconscious identity. Changing the way you feel about money or about whatever. And enjoy the journey as well. Because you will not enjoy the riches if you did not experience lack and scarcity. If you just had riches all the time, it wouldn't be good. You wouldn't feel good. Because life is experienced through contrast. If you just had everything you wanted, you wouldn't appreciate it, you'd throw it away, you'd waste it, and then you return to the opposite. And you see this happen sometimes. People who are born into complete riches, what do? They throw it all away. Because human beings are not designed to live perfect lives. They're not designed to have everything given to them. Human beings are designed like sled dogs. We need struggle, we need problems, we need things to deal with. So that we can feel like, yes, I'm fulfilling a purpose. My life is meaningful. And once you start looking at things like this, you realize, oh, you start appreciating the old times. Like the struggle and the problems. Because one day, those things aren't going to be there anymore. And you're going to be living a better life. There's going to be a part of you that misses that. As Ferris Bueller once said, life goes by pretty fast. If you don't stop to look around once in a while, you might miss it. Don't reject the current journey that you're on. Realize that it's all part of the journey. And two, if you're so desperately trying to get out of your current situation, what kind of energy is that? It's lack and scarcity. You have to learn to be calm in the moment with whatever it is that's happening. You have to learn how to be relaxed with no matter what. Because if you're so obsessed with getting out of your current situation, well, guess what? All you can do is grind. And if you're grinding, you're going to keep that lack and scarcity energy alive, but maybe you can overcome. When in reality, you could just take a moment, slow down, take your attention away from the outer world and focus it within yourself and how you feel. And use your mind to feel differently. Because you can do that. You have an imagination. You can think whatever it is you want. Literally. And you have the power to speak words. So you can say whatever it is you want. That is how you change. That's the only way to change. You have to change your actions or your thoughts. And all it is getting a little bit of an idea of who you want to be and matching your thoughts and actions to that version of you. And you keep doing that and you keep doing that until that becomes who you are. And the framework I always love to use is the behave matrix. There's be, there's behave, there's have. And this is the slave side of the equation. So what do most people do? They want more, so they do more to get. Never-ending hamster wheel. Hamsters everywhere. It's a mess. But this over here is the free side. Because who you are and your state of being, meaning fundamentally who you are, and also your feelings, and your state of consciousness, these things influence what you do. And what you do influences what you have. So instead of worrying about this side of the equation, because until you mess with your energy, nothing's going to change, you focus on doing things to change your state of being, to change who you are, and then everything else takes care of itself automatically. Because when you start aligning yourself with the more abundant version of you, the more abundant version of you acts in more abundant ways and therefore receives more abundance, automatically by default. As the teacher Myron Golden once said, people who succeed aren't trying to succeed any more than failures are trying to fail. So you want to ask yourself, do you have failure energy or do you have success energy? And it doesn't matter how many times you fail. What matters is, do you have the right attitude to eventually succeed? And this is part of that attitude. If you're just so focused on getting what you want, bad attitude, stop it. Because strong desire is a reflection of lack and scarcity. And so you will just receive lack and scarcity. And you can brute force reality to be whatever you want. It's going to revert back to the default. Why do you think people who win the lottery always return back to zero? Because they didn't deserve it. They didn't earn it. Their energy was lack and scarcity. They just happened to fall into this millions. And so, because they're operating from lack and scarcity, their actions will result in lack and scarcity. Which is why lottery ticket winners are worse off a few years down the road than they were when they first won. It's all about energy. So all you got to do, anytime you're exposed to the pattern of money, even like groceries and stuff like that, it's all kind of surrounding this main idea of survival. If you can feel safe, if you can feel like everything's taken care of, then it will be. But it takes some time, it takes some energy to get into that congruent state where your thoughts are aligned with your feelings and your actions. For example, if you're living in lack and scarcity, you can repeat, I am rich, I am rich, I am rich, all day long. That's fine. If it doesn't change how you feel, it's not going to change who you are. It's not going to change your energy. Although it may change and help a little bit, we have to remember that the point is the feelings. The secret is the feelings. So next time you go into the mirror and repeat these affirmations, make sure you smile, because you need to trick your body into feeling good, especially if you're not, so that you can tell your body, hey, look, we're no longer in survival anymore. It's all good. Relax. Everything's fine. You enter into that energy of being relaxed. No worries. Hakuna Matata. That is where abundance stems from. Because those who are worried and are afraid about money, obviously living in lack and scarcity. And those who have no fear or worry at all, they're living in abundance. And just remember, don't get caught in this realist trap where you're looking at the world and you're just assuming that's the way things are. You get to create the way things are. You don't have to settle. You don't have to accept reality if it's not going the way you want it to. Now, of course, you learn how to just accept the present moment. But the point is, you can accept where you are at your journey and still strive for better. It's all about energy management. What are you allowing into your energetic signature? these thoughts, these beliefs, these opinions of others. You're listening to somebody else who's living in lack and scarcity. They're talking about, oh, how expensive everything is. If you entertain that conversation, if you entertain that notion, if in your mind you're not saying that's wrong, there's no such thing as expensive, then it's possible that their little slimy ideas might get in. So you need clarity, you need certainty, and now you have some understanding. Because if I just tell you, hey, be delusional, pretend that it's all taken care of, you're going to probably be like, oh, well, that's stupid. Why would I do that? But now, once you understand that you're telling your body to feel better about it, using your imagination, well, now it makes more sense. Now it's not so much being delusional as it is learning how to create your reality and reprogram your unconscious mind. Just because it's not the reality you are experiencing yet, doesn't necessarily mean it's a lie. What if you are already living a lie and you're actually growing closer to the truth? Meaning that your belief in lack and scarcity is the lie. And that by thinking and feeling in abundance is the truth. So it's not delusional. Most people are already delusional by default because they're living in this false reality. And how do you prove that it's a false reality? Well, you'll see, because you'll know what it's like to live in lack and scarcity, and then you change something, and then you'll know what it's like to live in abundance. So what's the difference? What is the changing factor? Answer me this. This is the changing factor. You change your energy, that's it. And there's many methods to do that. And it's not that I'm saying grinding your life away. It's not that you can't find success. But why does success happen? It's not because of what you did to get what you wanted. It's because what you did changed who you are. It's like, look at someone like Andrew Tate, if you know who that is. Was once broke, slaving away. What did he do? He grinded his life away in order to become rich. Then rich and abundant just became the nature of who he was. Therefore, abundance flew into his life. He's super rich, but he wasn't always that way. Because psychologically, he wasn't always that way. So too, you can become that way either by grinding or just taking the shortcut, changing your energy. This is like how animals live. This is how gods live. Why? Because animals have to fight for their survival. Gods can manifest whatever they want in an instant. It's why certain spiritual mystics, even like Jesus, they can perform miracles. Why? Because they're in touch with their God power. That is what life is like on the very far end of this spectrum. That you can believe and will things into existence through your certainty. That is why Christ said, when you pray, believe that it is given to you. Whatever it is that you want, it's already yours. Why is this? It's because your faith and your certainty is what creates it. It's what allows it to enter into your life, because it's how certainty and faith affect your energy. They prevent worry and fear. Do not worry about what you will eat for tomorrow or what you will wear. Look at the lilies and the birds of the fields. They do not toil, and yet they're taken care of. How much more does God love you? And this is the wonderful news. Good news, the gospel. Because you and most people have probably grown up thinking that life is hard and it's a struggle and you never have to, you can never catch a break. And I'm telling you, no, it's already been given to you. Everything you've ever desired. Everything you've ever wanted in this entire life is freely given to you. But who are you going to trust? You're going to trust me? Or are you going to trust your conditioning that tells you, no, that sounds stupid? That's not true. You're going to be a realist, or you're going to rise up. And you don't even have to listen to me necessarily. You just got to try it. Go forth. Believe in yourself. And you'll see for yourself the evidence. Because you're going to need some evidence that contradicts your lifetime of conditioning. If you think it's hard to make money, guess what? You're going to have to be proven that it's easy. Until you're proven that it's easy, you're going to believe that it's hard. And you're going to struggle. Because life is matching your expectations. Because that's your energy that you're giving off. You're assuming that making money is difficult. You're assuming that it takes time. You're assuming that you're putting conditions on your abundance. And God is infinite, unconditional abundance. So, stop it. You want to be more like a child that walks into the candy shop with parents who are millionaires. Meaning, you can have whatever you want. There's no limits to this. And God is that billionaire parent. But you have to enter into this frequency. And the more separated you are from this, the more you're going to think, well, that sounds crazy. But it works. Stop living like animals, start living like gods. Because you have the infinite power of God at the touch of your fingertips. Are you not made in the image of God? You are designed to be a creator. And you are creating regardless of whether you're conscious of it or not. That is why Carl Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Oh, it's fate that I'm broke. No, it's your energy. It's the unconscious programming. It's the years of trauma and conditioning that are driving your life and making you make these stupid decisions about money and thinking in lack and scarcity. And until you address the underlying cause, the effect of the reality isn't going to change. Cause and effect, this is all a mathematical process. If you're not getting the result that you want, it means that the input is not yet correct. And you just keep inching yourself forward to the correct number or input. And now you know how to do that. You just feel more abundant. You consciously take the time to just love money. And that's another thing too. What if you've been conditioned to believe that money is the root of all evil? Then what do you expect? You're always going to struggle with money. You have these stupid beliefs about money. They're going to sabotage you. You got to get rid of them. And this is part of the process. Because you uncover these different beliefs that maybe you didn't even know you had. And then you realize, okay, that's a stupid belief. I'm going to stop. Because maybe you didn't understand it in the first place. Like, the love of money is the root of all evil. Well, I've heard people say the love of money is the root of all evil. I mean, money is the root of all evil. They take the love part out. And I think the whole thing is just ignorant. But how much more ignorant is it to believe that money is the root of all evil? It makes a little more sense that the love of money is more evil. But even that is not complete. It's not complete understanding. What they were talking about is the desire for temporary pleasures. That wanting, that needing is a closer reflection of evil. Because people who really want money, they do anything to get it. Or people who really want sex or food or whatever it is. So if any belief that you have, any opinion about money, again, this takes some awareness, some reflection. If anything comes into conflict with your new reality as living in absolute abundance, infinite, get rid of that idea. And I promise you, do not listen to stupid people. Do not listen to anybody about what we're talking about. Do not talk to other people about this. Because people are like crabs in buckets and they will pull you down. They will not understand what you're talking about. Because as we've discussed, everybody is in the same boat of lack and scarcity. Some people are a little bit less lack and scarcity than others. But that's not how life, why would you want to live that way? Don't play not to lose, play to win. Oh, I almost fell. And when you finally win, you can come give me a high five and enjoy the fruits of your efforts. So give it some time to ponder these ideas and become free. You are already free, you just have to remember. Life is already infinite abundance, you just have to remember. You have to just let go of that unconscious programming, that conditioning, step by step, day by day. You start feeling better about money. Life changes before your eyes. Give it a shot. I am Ray. Much peace and many blessings. And remember, just be